Yo, salute to everybody already here in the building. You guys know what time it is. Welcome to the latest installment of Coffee and Convo. I am your host, Graphk Raiders. Salute to the greatest chat in YouTube history. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. I see everybody heavy, man. Make sure you guys wipe them feet. That means get those likes up and also hit that subscribe button if you guys are not subscribed yet. This is not going to be a long live stream, you guys. I have a members only. Right after this, we're going to do about 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes tops here. And then we're going to do another 30-minute members only show shortly after. So if you guys want to become a member, hit the link. It's pinned up top. I see already some Green Dot Gang in the building. Nino, James Powers, Yerp. I see who else, man? Freight Train, Punchy, Bourbon, all my people. Paper Chase Mace. Salute to all my people. Yes, we're going to talk about this real quick, the Jalen Ramsey situation. I want to go over some salary cap implications with some of these teams that may be targeting Jalen Ramsey. So stay tuned for that. Also, I want to give some praise, man, to one of our guys who's doing something, a great cause, man. I just left the stream a few seconds ago. This is why I rescheduled the show for 3 o'clock and then I pushed it back to 12:45. I went to go support one of our own. My boy, Dylan Laube, for those you guys know, our running back, second-year running back out of New Hampshire, our former 6th-round pick. Just want to say he's doing, man, empowering lives. It's called Friends, the National Association for Young People Who Stutter. I want to say, man, salute to Dylan Laube, man, for doing God's work. I was over there for about 30, 45 minutes. I know it's still going on, but I had to get back to work and do what I do. But salute to Dylan, salute to the foundation of Friends over there for putting on and doing some great things. I'll definitely share the link to what they got going on in the description after the video is uploaded. So stay tuned for that. But once again, salute to my guy, Dylan, for doing great things over there with the Friends National Association of Young People Who Stutter, man. Salute to him. Salute, salute, salute. Nada, holy shnikes. I almost missed the live. Salute to my guy, Jersey Oos in the building. Yes, yes. Let me see. Ramsey's going to be expensive. This is facts. This is definitely facts. Not here to act as though this would be a cheap pickup. And also, I'm not here to act as though John Spytek and Pete Carroll are even looking his way. There's been nothing in terms of our organization being tied to Jalen Ramsey outside of some of the national media, some of the guys that cover the football team. We've talked about it ad nauseum over here at OLV Raiders Network, but there really isn't a connection there right now. I mean, if you guys want to go over exactly what was said yesterday real quick, who was it that spoke on this? I think it was Adam Schefter yesterday, right? I believe during a Friday appearance on the Pat McAfee show, ESPN's Adam Schefter provided an update on this situation. This is coming from ProFootballRumors.com. It's a little surprise. Schefter predicts the Ramsey trade will take place in time for the start of training camp. So mid-July, somewhere along that range. In terms of a landing spot, he added the 3-time All-Pros preference appears to be a West Coast team. In addition to the Rams, he also mentioned, obviously, that he would leave for the Chargers. They could be a potential suitor for his services as well. I don't know if, the Chargers are going to make the move and if they're willing to move some draft capital to go get Jalen Ramsey, but that has been a team that's kind of been mentioned a ton in terms of going out to trade for All-Pro, future Hall of Famer Jalen Ramsey. But this is interesting, you guys, because there was a ton of speculation about the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? We talked about it a ton over here as well, that they may bring him out there. They're going all in. They got Aaron Rodgers. They went and got Darius Slay. They got DK Metcalf. They've made a ton of moves out there. They're kind of going all in. Tomlin, I think he's feeling a hot seat a little bit. The GM's probably feeling a hot seat a little bit out there. But Pittsburgh is just saying, you know what, let's try and go all in. Now, I'm not kind of shocked by this situation because Jalen, why wouldn't he prefer the West Coast? He played in LA, I believe, for 4 seasons with the Rams. Won a Super Bowl out there. Had a few All-Pro years out there with Sean McVay and the Rams. So he's very, very used to the area. He was just in LA, I believe yesterday or the day before. He was spotted at UCLA out there getting some workouts in. So it looks as though he may still have a home out there in the area. So it makes sense why he would want to go home. I don't know financially, though, you guys, if it makes too much sense for Jalen to go to the Rams. It's so expensive in LA. California state tax will beat his ass. This is probably the last deal that he may have. At the end of this deal, what is he, 33 years old? I'm not, let me say that he may get, another deal once this one is up, depending on, the level of play that he's at that age. But I would assume that he'd want all the money, as much money as possible at this point. So we shall see what it looks like. But when you're mentioning West Coast teams, you're mentioning, like I said, the Rams. The Rams do have right now enough salary cap to bring him in. They're 17th in football right now with $22.5 million. They're 8th in dead cap right now with $50.8 million. Sean McVay did say there was going to be some hurdles if they wanted to make this move. I believe he was speaking to the media a few days ago, and he mentioned that, there's some difficulties to this situation if they want to reunite Jalen Ramsey with his former team, the Los Angeles Rams. You look over at the Chargers. They definitely have enough money to bring him in right now. He's owed, 16.7 mil, I believe, this year. And then after that, it gets a little rough, north of 20 million the next few seasons. But they're 15th in cap space right now, $27.8 million. So the Chargers could definitely make a move right now. I can definitely see them bringing him in. They can use definitely some corner help out there with Harbaugh on that defense. I mean, you look at some of these names in the offseason that they added, Dante Jackson, Benjamin St. Just. They got Tarheeb Steele. Santi Samuel Jr. is still out there. He's a free agent right now. It looks as though he will not be returning to the Chargers. They have some interesting names out there, but they can definitely use a starting caliber a cornerback right now in that defense out there in LA. So the Chargers do have enough money. So it makes sense for them to make the move. Then you look at Pittsburgh. They don't. They're 31st in dead cap. They only owe 6.6 mil, which is great, but they're 24th in football right now in terms of total cap space. They only have $18.9 million right now. So do you value bringing in a Jalen Ramsey at this point after you already made some moves? You got Porter out there still, right? He's young. You brought Slay in. They have a ton of options out there at the cornerback spot. Or do you try and bring in another weapon, to come in and pretty much replace the young fella George Pickens that they moved to the Dallas Cowboys a month or so ago? I think that they should probably value bringing in another offensive weapon, i.e. an Amari Cooper, a Gabe Davis, maybe even a Keenan Allen, another veteran that Aaron Rodgers can use as a weapon at the wide receiver position. But I don't think Pittsburgh makes a ton of sense to spend the rest of their cap space on the likes of a Jalen Ramsey at 30 years old. So, I do believe right now that Vegas, if we are in the hunt, would make a ton of sense. We're a West Coast team. We have a ton of cap space. Right now, once again, we're 6th in football right now. We have $36 million, $36.8 million. And once again, I don't know if this is after the Jermaine Pratt money or before the Jermaine Pratt money, but this is updated right now on Spytek.com, 36.8. We are 6th in football in terms of cap space available to us right now. So it'd be easy for us to bring on Jalen Ramsey, take on that hefty contract, and boom, you have a starting physical, cornerback in Jalen Ramsey that can provide a spark in that backfield and definitely provide some tutelage, some guidance with some of these young guys like Jacorian Bennett, DCam, Darian Porter, so on and so forth. So I'll say this: if he gets his, dream of returning back to the West Coast, the Raiders make a ton of sense. We have the money, we have the need there at the position. It's just up to Spytek. It's up to Pete Carroll. It's up to those guys to make the call and bring him in. Once again, he has flirted with the idea a ton of times to be a Raider. I remember when he was moving on from Jacksonville, he was screaming from the mountaintops to go out to Oakland and play out there with our Raiders. So we shall see what this looks like. But once again, if he gets his dream of returning to the West Coast, there's only a few teams that, could honestly afford him right now. I want to see the Niners have a ton of cap space as well, but I don't think that they necessarily have a real need there at the cornerback position. They have a ton of money right now. Let me see. They have They're third in cap space right now with $47.7 million. Now, I don't know if they want to bring on another veteran at this point. They tried to move on from some of those contracts. Ayuk was a guy that was mentioned a ton, a trade candidate. It looked like they were trying to move him. They moved Debo. They moved, a ton of guys, veteran guys. It looks like they're trying to get younger out there. So I don't know if they're trying to bring in the likes of a Jalen Ramsey. But when you mention West Coast teams, I think you have to mention the Raiders, the Chargers, and clear cut the Rams, which make a ton of sense because he played there previously. So salute to Adam Schefter, put it out there. It looks as though Jalen Ramsey prefers to go to the West Coast and play for one of those teams. And he mentioned specifically the Rams and the Chargers. Now, we know Adam Schefter is a Raider hater, former Bronco guy. There's probably a reason why he didn't mention the Raiders. And maybe he knows more about the situation than all of us. Maybe he knows that Spytek has no, want to bring in Jalen Ramsey. Who's to say? But it was interesting that he mentioned both of those teams by name, the Chargers and the Rams. So stay tuned, you guys. It looks as though before training camp, looks as though this thing can kind of ride into July. So stay tuned. The Jalen Ramsey saga should be finished up pretty close to training camp, where he'll be out there to get ready to prepare for the NFL season with his new team. Salute to Hug. Salute to Sweeney. Salute to all my people here in the building. Raider Man says we need to take care of Colton first. I agree. I totally agree with you. I think that we need to get him, get him in the books real quick, get him out the way, and then you can look at the likes of a Jalen Ramsey. You'll still have a ton of cap space, Raider Man. You could bring Colton Miller back and still go out there and bring in the likes of a Jalen Ramsey. So Ramsey has used the Raiders as leverage to get paid. I don't think so. I don't think this was a Donkey Kong Sue type situation. He clearly used our Raiders to try and get more money out of other organizations. This is not that type of situation. He has said even once he went on to another team that he wanted to be a Raider. So I don't think that this is a leverage move on Ramsey's part at all. At all, Matt, to be honest with you. I truly do not believe it. He's spoke about it tons of times that he wanted to be a Raider. So I don't think this is a leverage move. And honestly, Matt, what do you need any leverage right now? Regardless of whatever team picks you up, they're going to pick up that nasty contract regardless. 3 years left. It's like a 3-year, $70+ million deal. So whoever takes them on, where's the leverage at this point? Honestly, I mean, maybe you're meaning in terms of going to where he wants to go, but in terms of leverage with money, there's no leverage there. You know what I mean? Salute to JT. Salute to my guy. Pete has his cornerback room set. With the cap space, we have Jair Alexander, would have been his preference. A 4.38, 40, 5'10", 196. Please, Jalen Ramsey. Pete has his cornerback room set. With the cap space we have, would have been his preference. Why would he have been? I think you kind of proved why he wouldn't have been his preference right there, JT, with 5'10", 196. I think that Pete would prefer, a 6 foot, more physical Jalen Ramsey that play in the run, and give you some reps there in the run. Was healthy last year, played in all 17 games. I think that he would have valued Jalen Ramsey way over Jair Alexander, who missed 20 games in the last 2 seasons, who just went to the Baltimore Ravens on a very, very team-friendly deal to reunite with Lamar Jackson, his former Louisville teammate. So, I don't think that would make a ton of sense. I think that he would, if we're going off of what fits his system and the kind of physical type of corners he likes, I think that Jalen Ramsey fits the building for sure over Jair Alexander. Salute to my guy Yoshi, man. It's always good to see my boy Yoshi in the building, man. Salute to you, brother. Brandon, every roster has weaknesses. I feel like our biggest weakness right now is the cornerback room. How do we think we mask our roster weakness and turn them into strengths? I don't think that there's a way you can mask the weakness there. I just don't. You have a ton of young guys in that room. You're betting on a 1-year guy in Eric Stokes who hasn't lived up to a first-round billing up to this point. He's still young, but, I mean, you're putting a lot on the line for him. He's been getting first-team reps. You're putting a lot in Darian Porter's plate, a year one guy who was a former wide receiver who hasn't played a ton, at the cornerback spot. And then you're looking at Jacorian coming off of a nasty shoulder injury, a guy in DCAM that struggled last season in his rookie year. Look, Mello Dotson, a UDFA. Look, I don't know if you can mask it. If these guys can't perform well this season, there's no masking that weakness. You got to go out there and you got to bring in somebody to help, better that unit, better that group. Shaquille Griffin came in, left the building without a deal. It's clear cut they want to bring in a veteran, you guys. I don't think that room is set. We just had Shaquille Griffin in, for a meeting. So it's clear cut. It's evident that they're trying to still add more bodies to that group. I don't think that Pete would be – I don't think it'd be that smart in year one to go out there and bet on all this youth movement. Could it work? Definitely. Pete Carroll is a phenomenal head coach, a phenomenal defensive mind. If anybody can unlock these guys, it's him. Stokes fits the billing of what he wants at the corner spot. Porter does as well. I don't know where Jacorian fits in the grand scheme of things of what Pete wants. But DCAM, physical corner, a short tackler. I think he fits what Pete likes to do in terms of the defensive side of the football. But I don't think you can mask those strengths, Brandon. We play a ton of great quarterbacks this year. You got Patrick Mahomes twice. You got Bo Nix twice. You got Justin Herbert twice. You got CJ Stroud. You got, who else do we got? Jalen Hurts. I mean, the list goes on. We got a ton of maybe Cam Ward is him in year one. We have him on I think that Drake May is going to be a phenomenal quarterback. We have him week one. So, I don't know if you can mask that weakness, if it is a weakness at this point. Salute to Hug, my dog, man, on the $10 smackaroonie. Once again, you guys, in 10 minutes, we do have a members only show. If you guys want to become a member, jump on over. We're going to have some fun over there. And, it gets a little bit more lively over there. We kind of kick back and, Hug kind of says, hey, take your shirt off, Graph. We kind of chill out a little bit over there. Pause if necessary. So if you guys want to come over and join the 30-minute members only show, hit the link. It's pinned up top. Read an article on Bleacher Report talking about UFL players. We could use they mentioned some linebackers, but my eyes perked up on a couple nickels. Kyrie Woods, Kendrick Whitehead. Thoughts, big dog? I don't know if we're going to bring in any of those guys. I know that Scout mentioned on Twitter as well really early a few days ago that it looks as though we're going to bring in some UFL guys to see, work out, see what's out there. I don't know if any of those guys you meant. I think we're done at the linebacker position. Honestly, I do. And once again, I think a lot of people are kind of overvaluing the nickel spot right now. I think that they already have an idea of what they want to do there, with Darnay Holmes and Harper. And then once again, Chin getting a ton of reps there, Palomau getting a ton of reps there, potentially Trey Taylor. Maybe you see Mello Dotson out there at some point. I don't know. But I think a lot of us are kind of talking a little too much about the nickel spot. I think they already kind of have an idea of what they want to do. If they were really interested in boosting up that room, there's a guy named Mike Hilton that's 31 years old right now and would come in and be an instant starter for you. He's physical in the run game. He's a ball hawk, get to the ball. That would be the best bet right now, even over the likes of an Asante Samuel Jr., who's dealt with some injuries. And, Jermaine Pratt to tell you what Mike Hilton could do. He's a veteran. And once again, if you needed that, you could just bring him in. Why work out any UFL guys? Hilton's not going to cost you an arm and a leg at this point. And once again, you're sixth in cap space. So if they were worried about that spot, I think that they would just go make that happen right now. But I mentioned a few names the other day, Hug, in terms of some UFL guys. I mentioned them on Twitter. I'll bring it up again. I totally forgot who the hell I was talking about. But it was an edge rusher and it was a safety from Las Vegas. He's 30 years old. He is local. He's from the area. Maybe you can bring in another safety to add some special teams value. I know they like Lonnie Johnson a ton, and I know they love Chin and Palomau. So maybe they would bring in another body for a depth piece, special teams kind of guy. Salute to JT, my dog. Caro, as the head coach of the Seahawks, was looking to draft Jair Alexander in 2018. They ultimately traded back, and the Packers got him at 18 with that trade. Just said, yeah, but JT, once again, this is totally before Jair Alexander has missed like fucking 30 games the past 3 seasons. Right, he has not been proven to stay on the football field. He is a walking injury. He is a walking sore. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is no knock to Jair Alexander. When he's hot and when he's good to go, he's one of the better corners in football. I don't think that Pete at this point in year one with, his timeline being so short. He has maybe a 3-4 year window to try and get this thing right because of his age and because of his contract. I just don't think that he would want to bet on bringing in the likes of a Jair Alexander that may not play a ton for you over the likes of a Jalen Ramsey, who just played in 17 games last season and started in all 17 games. And once again, fits the more of the physical, billing of what Pete Carroll likes in his DB. So I'm not saying you're not right, JT. I'm just saying at the end of the day, there's a difference between looking at Jair Alexander coming out of Louisville and Jair Alexander right now coming out of a situation where he's missed a ton of football games. Salute to CGR, my brother, man. Once again, you guys get a few more questions out before we get out of here. Got about 10 more minutes. Brandon, did you get a chance to watch Pete on the Get Got Pod? Not yet. I'm planning on watching that today, Brandon. Salute to Marshawn and those guys over there, man. They put out fun content, great content. I definitely want to go check that out. DJ Lenny, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even want to even harp on this situation anymore. There is no update on this situation at all. It's the same news that was dropped in May. So I know a ton of people are talking about this because a video yesterday kind of sparked the discussion. There's no real update on this situation at all. Until the Raiders say, hey, he's going to get a second surgery and he's out for the season, I'm going to kind of pump the brakes a little bit. But I'm under the assumption that I'm going in a training camp without Christian Wilkins at this point. You know what I'm saying? But there's no updates. Once again, it sounds as though they're being very patient with their $100 million investment. And, they're just hoping that he can get right before training camp and potentially be out there for week 1. But there's no real update on that. Salute to JT, my dog. Graphk, I didn't want to pull this kind of rank, but I'm sitting with Pete Carroll right. I should have knew it, JT. He literally just said, I want Alexander. I should have knew it, JT. I should have knew it, dog. I should have knew it, man. Salute to JT, man. He got all the connects. Salute to my dog, the resident comedian over here at Shieldmore. Yeah, sometimes no news is good news, man. I mean, look, what else do you guys need? You know what I mean? What else do we need? We heard it from Pete Carroll. We said it's going to be a long journey. It's going to be a process. I mean, he literally said that, a couple weeks ago? I mean, listen to our head coach, you guys. We already know what this shit is. I'm not going to listen to anybody else that mentions something about something or a source of this or that. Our head coach said it's going to be a journey. So just listen to Pete. Listen to Pete. It's going to take some time. Let me see. John Calvin, imagine if we can get Justin Simmons since Chin has been playing in the slot and somehow get Ramsey. That would be nasty. That would be disgusting. Justin Simmons out there, get you some reps at the safety spot with Ramsey in him. But I think that they want to see some of these young guys get burned. I don't think they want Chin off the football field at all. I think that he's going to be on that. He's going to be on the field a ton. I don't think that they want to keep Palomau off the field either. That's why I don't think that they're going to potentially bring in the likes of a Justin Simmons who is going to come in and instantly be a starter for you. I don't think that Justin Simmons is going anywhere at this point in his career as being a former all-pro guy, going anywhere where he's not going to be starting football games immediately. So, but that would be nasty, John. Let me see. Salute to Raider Deb. It's good to see you, sis. Salute to my dog, Juju in the building. Appreciate you on becoming a member, man. Hopefully you pull up here in about 7 minutes to the to the show, members only show. Pull up, let's have some fun. If you guys want to become a member like my guy Juju, hit the link, it's pinned up top. There you go, man, giving away cookies and blunts on the members only show. Talk that talk. And we also set up another milestone over there for the members only show. So if you guys want to keep doubling up on those shows, let me know. We set a goal over there. If we can reach that, shit, maybe we do another one Monday. Shit, maybe we do another one tomorrow. Who's to say? I like those members only shows, man. They're chill, vibrant. All the heavy hitters are in there. We get to kick it a little bit. It's nice. Salute to my guy, Hug Dizzle. Once again, you guys, for those who are pulling up, this is not going to be a long live. I wanted to speak about the update with Jalen Ramsey. According to Adam Scheffner, he prefers to play for a West Coast team. He mentioned, 2 names, the Chargers and the Rams, but he mentioned West Coast. The Raiders are out there. We have more money than both those teams. We have a clear-cut need at the cornerback position. It's going to be interesting to see if Spytek throws his hat in the ring with potentially a trade to bring in Jalen Ramsey to Nevada, where there's no state tax. It's not the California tax, where Jalen Ramsey at this point in this stage of his career, I don't think he wants to lose any money. I think he'd like to hold on as much of his monies as possible. But yeah, man, it looks like he's preferring a West Coast team. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the Miami Dolphins are going to play not play hardball and take the best, take the best trade out there. If Pittsburgh throws them a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick and says, we'll take on his full contract, maybe look, this is not to say that Miami's going to gift Jalen Ramsey a destination of where he wants to go at all. This is not me saying that, but he does have a preference of playing in the West Coast. Salute to JT, my dog. I know, love you, bro. Effing with you. Also, and this is serious, anyone else think Bowers is like a giant Renfro, the way he moves, his routes, his hands, and his hair? Talk that talk, JT. Talk! Love you too, bro. Salute to my guy, JT. He's been here forever, man. Forever. Salute to my brother, Hug Dizzle as well. Appreciate you gifting 5 OLV Raiders Network memberships. Salute to my brothers. Salute to all the new members in the building because of my brother and my father himself. If you guys missed out on those 5, hit the link. It's pinned up top. Raider Man, next week, we will be doing that. Let me see. Oh, you know what? Goodman, thank you for reminding me. I'm going to send it to him right now. Right before the show. I totally forgot. My apologies, Goodman. For those who don't know who Goodman is talking about, they just had a baby and they named him Crosby. I screenshotted it. I need to send it to Max. I want to see his reaction to that. So salute to Goodman. I appreciate you for reminding me. I definitely need to send it. And once again, congratulations to you and your family on your new Raider. You'd love to see it. Let me see. Rick Rock, if I'm a betting man, to be honest with you, I do believe that he'll go back to the Rams. I think that he looks at that as the best situation to potentially win another championship, and rightfully so. They win, they have a phenomenal roster on the defensive side of the football. They brought back Stafford. They brought Devontae in. They got a great team out there with the Rams, defensively and offensively, and a great coached football team with Sean McVay. So it makes a ton of sense why he would want to go out there. And once again, he's familiar with the area. I get it. Salute to Nada, my dog as well. Appreciate you, my brother, gifting 5 OLV Raiders Network membership. Salute to you. Look, this is going to be a members only show where Ant will be nowhere near there. Gray Dot Gang is not invited. Not invited. Anthony, you kind sir, are not invited to the barbecue. So just a heads up, when we go over here and have some fun here in 2 minutes, it's going to be a blessing to not see your name and your bitch ass default picture in the chat. So yeah, but salute to everybody who pulled up. Quick 30-minute live. Once again, there's not a lot to talk about in the nation right now, but if you guys want to talk about whatever you want to talk about, become a member, join the show. We're gonna have some fun over there, talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. But once again, update on Jalen Ramsey. He prefers to play for a West Coast team, and Chargers, Rams, Raiders, Niners potentially. I don't know. We shall see. But salute to everybody here in the building as always. For all the members, jump over to the members only show right now. We will be active over there, kicking it. Salute to you guys. Love y'all. We are out. 1.